So we are all really in that state. It's just we're using an internal scratch pad. Right now you don't have any access to what happened years ago. You just have the memories, and they're actively rebuilt. And we all know, our ability to rebuild accurately is crap, basically, right? And these things do, morph and change and whatnot. So the story of ourselves changes all the time. I actually I did I gave a talk the other day at this UCLA symposium, and I talked about planaria and this idea that, in planaria, if you teach them something and then you chop off their heads and the tail sits there, and then eventually they regrow a new head and they regenerate their memories, right? And so that means, okay, the memory is stored somewhere, right. Who knows where it is, but the interesting part of that is the memories are actually imprinted onto the new brain as it develops. And so this new being, this new planarian, has to rebuild itself along with its memories. I mean, I don't know how rich a planarian's memories really are, but whatever they are, it has to completely rebuild itself from these memories. And, that sounds all crazy and weird. And it sounds like, the cases of what's the, Blade Runner and everything, when you find out that, oh crap, my memories aren't really my memories. I mean, as far as this planarian brain is concerned, it just got downloaded a bunch of false memories. That brain was not part of any of the things it remembers. They wasn't there, didn't exist. So it's kind of a bunch of false memories. And so it's like, wow, these planarians are crazy. And this thing with the androids is nuts. And my point was, no, this is what we are 24/7. This is completely normal, because all of us are reconstructing ourselves at every moment. And I don't know how wide the moment is, but I'm sure the neuroscientists will tell us. You are reconstructing yourself from these past memories. And so I think that's a deep kind of philosophical thing, because your self isn't some permanent monadic structure that just kind of exists. It's an active construction. It's a process. It's a it's a constant information processing. Autopoiesis of the mind doesn't stop during embryogenesis. It kind of keeps going. It has to, and it has these interesting implications. If somebody, it will go going back to, I guess I'm now in the business of trying to normalize a lot of things that people get freaked out about. But imagine, right? So if somebody finds out that, oh my God, like all of these memories that I have now, that wasn't me, that were downloaded. My body was just, was it Boltzmann or was it Hume, or somebody had this puzzle, like what happens if you're not, if all your memories were just like, you were created 10 seconds ago, including your memories, right? Or something like that. Sure. If you think about it hard enough, given that that's normally our situation anyway, my answer is, who cares? Great. Like, move on. You've got them now. Go for it. Now you've got some great memories. Like, roll with it, because that's what else is it going to be? Of course, you were just constructed with your memories. What else could it be? You are constantly constructing yourself from the engrams in your head. You don't have access to what actually happened before. You are up. I just don't even, that view seems weird to people, and I can't even verbalize what the alternative would be. I just don't even understand what an alternative story could possibly be. So from that perspective, do I? And in fact, you can go further with this. The body that I have now, given the turnover of cells and molecules in your body, was this body actually around 30 years ago to do the things that I remember doing? It actually wasn't. We know it wasn't, even though I've not been part of some weird memory replacement experiment, and I'm not an android. This body wasn't there. I know it wasn't. We know it wasn't there. And yet I have these memories. So what am I complaining? What would you complain about if somebody told you that, your body was just, you were killed in a wreck, or maybe your body never existed, but we just made you, and like, here are some great memories of a past life. Like, bring it on. Fantastic. I hope they're good ones. And because I don't even know what the alternative would be. So I think for that reason, I think all of these things are really, really hopeful and positive. They just tell us that we shouldn't be afraid of these technologies. This is the amazing thing about being a self in this universe, is you get to constantly construct yourself, and, by the way, guide what happens in the future. What you do now determines the experiences you're going to have, the reactions you're going to have, which, of course, those kind of disciplines and the traditions are all about that, about consistent practice to train yourself to be better, to have to improve your cognitive apparatus and so on, and the commitment. This is the last thing, the bodhisattva vow, which is huge. It's this commitment. It's a meta goal. It's the commitment to enlarge your cognitive apparatus to enable bigger goals, to enable you to pursue bigger goals with more compassion facing outwards. That I think is critical, because I think once you're a system with the ability to make that commitment, it's sort of like it's an exponential rise after that, right? It's like discovering the scientific process. Before that, it was all sort of screwing around, trial and error. But as soon as you figured out that there's a systematic thing that I am going to literally work to get better at this, and to be able to have more, increase my cognitive light cone of compassion, you can now sort of exponentially go up, because you understand what you're doing. It's not just just a random walk.
Yeah, no, I love what you've said before too, about how something to this degree that you can't control your next thought, but you can control your thoughts 10 years from now.
Yep.
By what you do today, right? And
Yep.
what you do every
Yep.
day, you can like influence the future. One thing I really want to ask you about, and it's not in this paper, but I imagine other folks have worked on this. The idea of what it's like to perceive, let's say, the self in a broader way. And like you mentioned with the Bodhisattva vow, and I think this is actually really nice because it brings us full circle with our conversation from our very first one, which was around the cognitive light cones. And in this paper, you do have a diagram where you've like overlaid what someone with a wider sense of self, say one to help out the community, or something that's someone that takes the vow to not achieve enlightenment until everyone else does, right? It's like this leave no living being behind kind of idea, right? But do we have any research or even discussions with, say, monks, people who engage in say like deep Buddhist meditative practices? Do they perceive themselves as like a part of a whole? Like is their actual sensory experience different than, say, a very unenlightened person like myself, or like most folks? Like, does that make any sense? Like how
Yeah.
they perceive themselves in the world?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I don't think I've got the expertise
Yeah.
to answer that question. I think you could talk to you could have Thomas Doctor on, for example, and he's a very kind of experienced scholar in that area, and I think you'd have a good time. He could explain all that stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I think I'll have to. And let's see. And that's great. So you gave me so much to chew on, and so much for the audience too, I'm sure. This idea that who you are today is not who you were 30 years ago, just in a very literal, materialistic sense. And that there's like just this illusion of a consistent, continuous kind of experience. That's really it's a wonderful way to put it. And if you wouldn't mind, I mean, I'll probably overlay your cognitive light cone with the Bodhisattva vow one. How has this been? Because this paper came out about a year ago. How has it been received? Have you heard any response from the paper?
Um, uh, a little bit, a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't track responses super carefully, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're busy.
Haven't heard a ton. I'm gonna guess Thomas or heard more on it. But I think that I've certainly had interesting people reach out to me to talk about it, which is pretty much one of the things I hope for in writing these things.
Yeah.
So I've had lots of cool discussions. I don't know more broadly. I mean, I have no idea how. And any of these papers, by the way, I have no clue, like who, if anybody reads them or who reads them, or what happens
Well, I do.
after that. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and certainly people contact me, but I don't. It's very hard to know, how these things are actually spreading or not spreading through the community.
Gotcha. And I'm going to let you go in a moment. But before I do, one last thing. You're a big Midjourney fan.
Yeah.
You oftentimes have, seems like you're also a fan of surrealist art. I've seen stuff from, prompts that are like, do this in the style of the Codex Seraphinianus, or in the style of like Hieronymus Bosch. Do you know like what is it that draws you towards like those kind of art styles?
Um, I don't know. I have not. I have had zero art training. You know, I kind of know what I like, but I don't know
Mm,
anything about art. I can't draw myself at all. Like nothing.
same.
And yeah, and I mean, all I know is that I really like. I'm really interested in the space of the possible, and
Mm,
much more so than the actual. And
mm,
everything I look at art wise is either photography of nature or photography
mm,
thereof. I like, I like nature, but other than that, yeah, I'm really into imagining what could be the latent space of possibilities. And I think, Midjourney and systems like that are pretty cool in that respect. They let you explore this wacky latent space that it has, of images of all different kinds. Yeah, that's just kind of generally. I think very much forward in terms of like what now, what next, what could we do next. That
mm,
maybe, maybe that's why, maybe that explains a lot of my kind of not getting worked up about whether the past is real or not, or what. It's mostly the forward looking stuff. I mean, like whatever in the past, but like now, what do we do now? So
mm.
that's more what I'm interested in. And I like this kind of art that lets you yeah, imagine things that could, that could be. What are the possibilities moving forward?
Yeah, I share same love for that style as well, those styles. And just want to say thank you so much, Mike. These three conversations have been
Cool.
wonderful. I
Yeah,
appreciate your
thank you.
time, your energy.
Well, everything is there's an official website. The academic website is www.drmichael11.org. So one word, drmichael11.org, and that's got all the links to the papers, the software, the presentations, everything else. I've got a science Twitter presence at drmike11, and I think in a couple of months there will be a WordPress site. So I've been working on
Oh,
a
nice.
site, kind of, yeah, I was sort of thinking Substack, WordPress. I think
Yeah.
I've decided WordPress. And so there's going to be a site that's kind of less the official academic stuff and all kinds of writing that I want to do that doesn't really, kind of tired of asking the question of, you write this thing and it's not really it isn't a primary paper and it isn't really a review, and it's kind of a perspective, but it's really interdisciplinary. It's way too long for a journal, and I'm sort of just tired of this issue of finding a home for it. So yeah, so there'll be, that doesn't exist yet, but in the next couple of months it should be up. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great. Thanks.
This is awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye bye.
All right.